Hi, I'm Mike,
And I'm Dave.
and we're here to talk about the Myers-Briggs personality types, our favorite thing in the whole world.
Yes, it's up there with soulmates, romance, and writing poems under rainbows.
That's right, all the stuff NFs care about the most.
Oh, yes.
For this video, we're going to talk about, we're not going to talk about NFs this time. We're going to talk about our bizarre cousins through the mirror, and that is the NTs, the rationalists. And I think this is an interesting conversation to have because in many ways, rationalists and idealists end up with each other sometimes in the same circles and as friendships and all sorts of different types of relationships. And it shows you how important that the intuitive sensing function is, because it sort of unites various groups that may be different in all the other functions. So we're going to talk about our experience with NTs, and Dave and I know a lot of NTs.
Yes.
So Dave, why don't you start? What's your general experience of the rationalist personality type? What has it been?
It's been interesting. I do learn a lot from them, and they're always interesting to talk to. They're very knowledgeable. If they get to know you, they are very, very good people. Well, however, if you get on their bad side, you won't see them a lot, but you will hear from them through the wonderful invention called the internet. But
Which they invented.
Yes, which they invented. But I find that they're really keen on knowing a lot of things. They'll explore subjects to the fullest extent possible, and they won't leave any corner unturned. You know, they'll go in full steam ahead and report back. They'll have a full analysis of the situation, and it's fascinating to talk to them. And they're also, for the most part, very good teachers. They'll they'll explain what they've learned to a very, very good extent, even if you don't understand the first time, which may aggravate them, but they won't give up on you. If you're willing to listen, they'll explain it to you. So it's been very, very positive, and a lot of my good friends are NTs. So
Indeed.
So as a teacher, what's your experience with NTs?
Well, my experience is as an instructor is very, very positive. It's always great to have NTs in the classroom. That is always a great thing. They read a lot. They do the homework. They ask great open-ended questions, challenging questions. They write great papers. They write papers that are nice and long. Papers that have a reasoning that you can follow behind it. You know, it's not some sort of abstract. You know, well, it could be abstract, but it's not completely nonsensical. You know, there's a line of logic that always can be followed through them. So as a teacher, they're a great joy to have in class all the time. And I've liked every NT I ever had in class, or I minimally liked them being in class if I didn't get to know them or anything like that. So as an instructor, it's always great to have an NT in class, because minimally, you know, there's someone who's going to, you know, get it. There's someone who's going to do the homework. There's someone who's going to pass. They're probably even going to get an A. So that's always a very positive thing, too. And so because of that, there are a lot of NTs in my life for that reason. Personally, on a personal level, I like NTs beyond that, not beyond just the instruction, in that as a fellow intuitive, I can follow them as they're sort of describing their long, rational explanation for the universe, or whatever it is that's coming out of them. You know, this very huge amount of information that has been processed and organized, or whatever. It's a joy to sort of follow that stream of knowledge that comes out of them, and that's or questioning it doesn't always have to be statements of knowledge. It could be a questioning that's coming out of them. But it's always great to sort of follow that stream and ride that stream with them. And I always find them to be very fascinating people and very easy to talk to and understand, which the other types I don't think about the NTs, but that maybe says more about NFs and our empathy, our ability to get them.
Or just the N in general.
Yeah, really, the N in general. And the funny thing is I don't know. I'll have to ask our NT friends.
Yeah.
I don't know that they feel so positive about us going in the other direction. I see them as, like I said, I see NTs almost like as our reflection, or like, ourselves in a parallel universe, but different. Because even though they don't, they're obviously not like NFs.
Mm-hmm.
I find it much easier to understand where they're coming from than perhaps the other types. Sometimes I really have to kick in my empathy to understand the other types, whereas there's much more of an easier following of the NT progression of ideas. And so I see them much more akin to us than I think they see us to them. I don't see they see us as being akin to them. I could be just having low self-esteem about it because they hurt my feelings sometimes.
Yeah,
but
they are hard to read. Sometimes.
The NTs.
Yes, the NTs, because there's no feeling. They're very all in their heads, so to speak. So they're very cold responses sometimes. Like regardless of whether they're feeling excited, angry, or just happy or neutral, everything's neutral when it comes out. It's just like, I'm having a great day today. I am very upset. I am very excited. So. But, I guess that's not a bad thing, But they are hard to read, and in some ways that does hurt the feelings.
What do you think is your most positive experiences or positive thing about NTs that you experience?
Well, like I said before, they go into a subject, like, head first all the way, and they explore it fully. So I feel that I learn a lot from them. And I feel that, whereas I'm all about emotions, I can get the other side of that. I can get the thinking, linear thought process from them. And that's great. That's very interesting to me. And I like that. I feel that they're, it complements me very well. I find. So, yeah, that's what I think. Do you feel the same?
I think what I like very positive about NTs is the dialogue. I always like having a dialogue with an NT, regardless of whatever type it is. I enjoy the NT dialogue, and again, sort of following that flow of ideas with them and writing it and having an exchange with it. Is always a very enjoyable thing. Usually. It's a very enjoyable thing. That sort of exchange of communication about a topic is very good. And actually, one thing I also like about NTs a lot is that they give me, this is specific to the United States, but they give me hope for America. They do. Every American NT, and not just the ones I personally know, we know a few, give me hope for America. But NTs I see around America, like on YouTube. The other day we saw an NT from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I was happy to see that, wow, there are NTs in Oklahoma. And I realize it's very provincial and New England elitist of me to say that. But nevertheless, knowing that there are NTs in Oklahoma and the rest of the country gives me hope for America, that maybe America is not as stupid as everyone thinks it is.
Yes.
Because there are NTs throughout the country doing their NT stuff.
And on a side note, I think I have a theory as to why people think America's so stupid. Is that the stupid people have the loudest voice. So I feel that that really gives, like, I guess, Europe a bad impression about us. So
sure.
NTs get a louder voice.
Yes, because I always find intellectual hope for the future of America when I listen to an NT, any of the NTs, ones that I know personally or the ones I may see on YouTube, or people who I think are NTs just on TV or whatever. But I'm always happy to run into or have an experience of American NTs. That's always very happy. Mm. All right. So, Dave, what are some of the more difficult things that happen as an NF interacting with the rationalists that you find? Or specific as an INFJ?
Lack of empathy.
No. What? There's no empathy?
I know. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, but it's shocking.
No, I mean, it's not their fault, but,
no, that's right.
It's just, it's not their strong suit. And they'll put things bluntly, despite how you may feel about it. Whereas an NF, I'll be nice about it. I'll be as nice about it as I possibly can. And if I don't, then I'll feel bad afterwards, and I'll probably apologize. Whereas an NT most likely won't. And that's been the hardest. I've had my feelings hurt in regard with NTs. Not most of the time. Sometimes though, but it's still it's a bit upsetting and frustrating sometimes. But I don't know. That's them. What can you do? How well is it the same, or is there other aspects that upset you?
I guess the two things. One is that, and it's very NT to do this. So you can't ask an NT not to do this. But and sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's humorous, and sometimes not so much. But NTs seem to always have this a priori assumption that they're right. That their position is right, and it's absolutely right, and of course it's right and better.
So they think they know the noumena?
They do think they know the noumena sometimes, or at least they've made an attempt. And that doesn't mean that necessarily they're wrong, but there's multiple points of view. And the logical, rational point of view is one view of many. Now, granted, that's a very P thing to say, a very perceiver thing to say, and I don't know if the J's, the judges wouldn't necessarily, even our own NF judges wouldn't necessarily say that's true.
I'm slightly of a weak J, but I have my moments where.
Yes, but there's sort of an automatic assumption that they're right, and that the other types, whatever, are automatically, because they're the other types, are going to be wrong on the issue or whatever. That's one thing. The other thing that's interesting about the NTs is that they don't. Let's see, how do I want to word this exactly?
Don't feel bad, Mike.
No, I'm not feel bad. I'm just losing my train of thought on it. All right, we'll get back to me. We'll get back to that.
All right.
All right. Well, what are some things you would want rationalists to know about themselves?
Well, you're not as alienated as you feel. We get you.
Yes.
To a certain degree.
Yes, and that now I just got my train of thought back with it.
All right,
okay, this is perfect. This connects. Is that? But it's something that bothers me. Is that, again,
we go from positive to
right.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily negative, but I don't know. As I see NTs again as NFs as being. I'm sorry. As an NF, I see NTs as being on the other side of that mirror, and as equals but different, coming from a different orientation. And I don't get the impression that they see us as equals at all. And that they are, that we're not on equal footing with them intellectually. And now, granted, after watching a bunch of ENFP videos on YouTube, my God, I can't believe how we all sound. I mean, no wonder we sound,
it's
so
okay,
funny.
Mike.
I have 2 master's degrees. I count for anything. 2.
True. Well, let's open it up to them, all right?
Sure.
Any NTs out there, please tell us how you feel about NFs.
No, they're not going to tell us how they feel, because that's...
Okay, what you think. What you think about NFs. Okay, leave comments, do video responses by all means, and we're out of time for now, unfortunately. But
Sure.
until next time, see you next video and take it easy.
Okay.